was just listening to the
Hey,
song. That was an excellent song.
I can hear that. I can hear
that?
that. Hey, everyone.
Welcome to Dear Dad.
Dear Dad. We are broadcasting to you live from inravio.com. It's 6:30 on Thursday,
The
May 23rd. May
Yes.
2-3. Coming up on the holiday weekend.
Yes, it is. And this is our third show in a row.
Third show in a row. It's officially a street time.
Yeah, it's
right?
a street.
Two
We had a
days-
little bit of a
two-
hiatus there.
2 shows in a row, I call that a coincidence.
That's what
I've
they were
got,
calling
I've
it.
got a little bit of an echo in my...
Yeah, I'm getting the
Right,
echo
right
too, but
here.
I think that's just the echo. So last week we had a good show. I got a lot of positive feedback from different viewers who were watching the show, and what we talked about was different types of cheating. And I think it just made people do a little bit of thinking, you know, how they feel about certain situations, you know, what they consider to be cheating and not. So I think it got some people thinking and talking with their kids, and that's what we wanted to do. So good job.
And my feeling is, if you're going to cheat, don't cheat on watching Dear Dad. Watch Dear Dad.
Yes.
Cheat on some of the other
They could
67
fast forward through the
shows.
commercials, though.
Right.
We just don't have any commercials, so.
No.
But
Anyway,
in light of that, though,
this week,
we're going to do something a little more.
we're coming to the holiday weekend, and we're going
Lighter.
to talk about some things that you can do in and around your town, or in and around Long Island, or in and around any town that could be free. We're going to explore a little bit about nice vacations, days that you can just spend a day doing something.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're going to do today. So
and
you can call in.
We've done this every year because I know you feel the same way I do, is if you live somewhere, wherever it is, if you live on Long Island, if you live in Manhattan, if you live in the Midwest, if you don't do the things that are available to you, why bother?
Right.
You know, Long Island is, in my opinion, the most incredible place to live in the world. But if you don't take advantage of the beaches, of the sports, of the fishing, of the golf, of all that Long Island has to offer, it's just a really expensive, crowded place to live. But if you do all this stuff, that's really where you would come and learn to love Long Island.
We have a lot of diversity here as far as natural things.
Absolutely.
The water, the mountains.
So we have the seashore.
the freshwater lakes. We have the ocean.
We have nice rivers, fishing rivers, decent-sized rivers.
Mountains, islands.
Well, Long Island doesn't have mountains, but...
Well, not Long Island, but New York,
Yeah.
East Coast.
Well, that's why one of the things I like about Long Island the most is within, say, 2.5 hours, I could be from the finest beaches in the world to some of the best mountains.
Right.
You know, it's that close. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Yes, we are. So, first of all, if you want to call in, if you have an idea about vacation, or you want to talk about a vacation experience, or you want to recommend something for somebody to do in your area, you can call in to 1-855-446-7284. That's our call-in number. Or if you're signed on, because you're watching, so you must be signed on, you can type in the chat, and we'll see that. If we don't see it, Christine, or today we have Thomas in the booth. Christine or Thomas will say, hey, one of your listeners or viewers are trying to get in touch with you, and we'll try to answer you. So anyway.
Are you still getting an echo?
I am still getting an echo, and it looks like our video is frozen at what we're watching, but I don't know if that's really what's happening for the viewers. But
Now, one thing I'm gonna take I'm gonna pull rank and take a minute before we go into this.
okay.
Tomorrow, I'm leaving to go upstate because on Saturday morning, my son, Tim, who has been on the show quite a few times, he is graduating from college. He's getting his bachelor's degree in biomedical engineering. And I don't know if he's watching right now. I know he was doing some other things with his roommates. But he's really made the most of his past 4 years. He's studied hard. He did well in school. He made new friends. He really did all the things that you would hope someone would do when they go away to college. And he took advantage of all the opportunities, and he didn't, while he did all the things college students do, he didn't do anything to the degree where it affected his studies. He always, knew what was important and why he was there. And I think that's what happens. Sometimes these kids go away, forget the reason they're there is to go to school, and the parties are secondary. But he didn't. He's graduating on Saturday, has made Dean's List every single quarter. So Tim, I'm extremely proud of you. Congratulations, and I can't wait to watch you go and grab that diploma. It's going to be a real proud day. So congratulations.
Good luck and congratulations to you, Dan.
Thank you.
And Tim.
Now we can
Do
talk.
I also get to say my
Oh,
daughter's
yes,
graduating
absolutely.
next week with her master's degree from Hunter.
And,
And she's also, at the top of her class
And as
worked
you're
real
saying
hard
this,
to
and when
get
I'm
where she
saying
is.
it,
And it's good.
it's quick.
It's good.
She just started.
Hi,
seeing-
Kate. Thanks for doing a good job.
Now, she went back to New York City, right?
Yeah.
And she got her degree in
She got a master's in sociology research.
sociology research, which is separate from just a sociology degree.
Yeah.
And she did an internship.
Yes. She did an internship. She's been published. Just, of course, you have to do a thesis to get through this. And, she's done all the things that she needed to do. And some kids just are driven, well organized, and focused, and they can go after that and do that. And she's fortunate in that way, that's the way her mind is built, And other kids get through that and all that
Right.
that point. They're just not as focused and not as driven, but they still get to that same point, and they do it differently. And you know what? Not to take anything away from Caitlin or Tim, but the ones whose mind is built that way, or their habits are formed that way, sometimes it's easier for them to get through it than the ones that have the distractions or the inability to focus very, very well. And I know that hits home with you sometimes.
Right.
And how much more concentration it is for someone who just doesn't have that focus, but still gets through that day and gets to that point where they graduate and they move forward, and it's very, very rewarding for them.
But it's still a lot of work for her. I mean,
It's a lot of work for all of them.
and I know
There's no
the
doubt
answer
in my
to
mind.
this, but did she ever complain?
No, I mean, not from a complaint where, oh, this is so hard and I'm sorry I did it. From a complaint where I'm on my 29th page and my professor made a revision and now I got to rewrite 5 pages. Yeah, I mean, that's a complaint. But, and I've got 1 day left.
Right.
Whereas when I was in school, if I had 1 day left, I'd be like, no problem, I didn't start anyway.
Yeah, you're a crammer.
Because I had a different tact to get to the same destination,
Right.
or similar destination. I had a different tact to get there.
Awesome. Well,
And some people just
congratulations
work
to you
really
and to
well
you,
under
Caitlin,
pressure.
on your
So,
graduation
congratulations
with
to
your
both
master's
of them.
degree.
And we're proud of you guys, and as we're proud of all of our children.
And to Chris and
And-
to Haley, who
and-
finished their year in
Sure.
their college.
Chris,
so.
successful in his second year of college,
And Haley in her
my
first.
older guy Michael is into a nice management program with his
Vispa.
organization. He's worked real hard every day, and everything he's done is culminated into a really nice career for him. So
I think what's interesting, and I know we're getting off
Were you going
topic.
to shake my hand and
No,
say
I
how
wasn't,
proud
but
we
there
are
you
of
go.
our
I
children?
am very proud.
Okay.
One thing about Michael is, and I think the message is good, is he is becoming very successful in something that he never sought to work in. He's working in an area where he really didn't think that's where he would go. That wasn't what his studies originally led him to, but he's excelling in this area that he didn't even think about.
Yeah, I think
So sometimes life takes you places, and
my experience is the majority of college graduates don't always work in what they thought they were going to do when they first began college. So if
I'd
you're
say
a
that's
business
true.
major, though you may be working in the business world, it may not be where you thought exactly you were going to be, or if you were, like a lot of people take teaching degrees, or they go for a teaching degree. Well, if you don't become a teacher and you're doing something different, okay, well then you could always, well, I'm not doing what I went to school for, but of course everything along the way helps me do what I'm doing today.
Right.
So, yeah, and with respect to that, yeah, his degree wasn't in business or sales, but that's what he does today.
And he likes it.
Likes it and understands it,
Good.
and is able to understand, the nuances of being a salesperson and meeting, goals and commitments and understanding what the organization wants from you. And that's what's important. Doesn't matter whether you're a salesperson or an engineer that's working in a company, right? Because I work with a lot of engineering people, and the reality is you could work in an organization but not really understand the organization's goals.
Right.
Okay, you can always do your part. You could function in your role, but you may not understand what direction the company goes in, or why it goes in that direction, and what is its goals.
So you need to know the mission of the company or business
Right.
or wherever you're working. What
Right.
is their mission?
Right.
Okay.
So that's an important thing when you work in a company,
I agree.
not just your single role, because your role is part of an overall.
And I think that maybe
Concept
is
that's happening
what
in the company.
differentiates between a job and a career or a profession.
Mm-hmm.
A job is when you're working at the local fast food place just to pay a couple bills, and you're really not worried about their mission. Their mission is to sell a hamburger.
Right.
Now, if you're the manager of a store or one of the chains, that's a different story.
But it could be anywhere. I mean, you could be, and I'm not going to pick on Home Depot because I think it's a dead-end job, because I don't believe that. Okay, but if you're a salesperson at Home Depot, okay, and you move on to whatever opportunities are available to you, department manager, store manager, area director, area manager, things like that, okay, thank you. You're actually taking the opportunity that's there for you and going, someplace with it. It's not necessarily a dead-end job. You
Right.
can turn it into a career. And conversely, you could be working for IBM or Computer Associates or something else, and you can never move forward in a job that you started day one, and you could be there for 15 years and you could have the same job. But that may be happiness to you.
It could be, yeah.
I don't want the added responsibility. I don't want the added stress. I've
Right.
been doing this for 25 years. I like doing this, and I could see myself doing this until the day I retire. Okay? Whereas some people, the day after they start, they can't wait to get to the next spot.
Right.
They want their boss's job and their boss's job, and they want to move forward.
Very aggressive.
And that's just how they go about their life and their career. So, anyway, so
we're talking
congratulations
about,
to
yes,
both of the
congratulations.
kids, and
Not only our kids,
and-
but this is graduation
and it is
weekend from
graduation time, and
college.
it's prom time. It's graduation time. There's moving up ceremonies when you have young people going from, grammar school. Do they still call it grammar school, grade school?
Elementary
to
school.
elementary school to middle schools or junior high schools. They're all set up different. People going from middle schools to the high schools, and of course high schools to
So
college.
it's a big
It's all happening now. There's
change period.
communions, there's
Sure.
confirmations. This is spring, and that's what spring is about. So congratulations to all those moms and dads, and tell your kids how proud you are of them.
Did you get your plants in? Speaking of spring, did you put in your...
Spring, I have all the plants that we got from the plant sale are still in the plastic containers. Did you put all your plants
I
in?
did.
Did you do it, or did
You know what?
Megan do it?
No, this year I did it. First time in like
You
forever.
did it yourself.
I did it myself. And the reason
When
I
did you
bring
do
that
it?
up, not this Saturday, last Saturday.
All right, 'cause
a week
I'm
ago.
looking at your fingernails, because if there's
No,
dirt
a
under
week.
those fingernails,
I'm in the health profession. I
I'm
can't
just-
keep dirt under my fingernails.
you were off today, so I thought maybe there might have been a little dirt on those
I
fingernails.
mean, if I walk in with dirty fingernails, the patients go,
All right.
no.
Not for nothing. you know,
I keep them short.
you bite your nails.
No, you got to keep them really short. Bacteria
So they don't
grows
break
under
through
'em.
the rubber gloves?
No, they harbor bacteria
They harbor bacteria.
under your nails.
Damn,
So,
I don't know.
but the reason I bring it up is not because I think it's any big deal that I planted the flowers. It was, I enjoyed it. The reason I bring it up is it made me realize that I'm getting old. All I did was plant maybe 3, 4 flats of flowers all over the yard. For 2 days, I couldn't walk.
Old, like the
No.
Godfather in the tomato garden, like I got a heart attack? Old?
No, meaning like the next morning I woke up going, oh, ow, every muscle hurt from planting flowers.
Welcome.
You
Welcome-
know, it's like,
welcome to
okay,
middle age.
I'm not looking
It's
forward
getting
to
more
this.
and more crowded every day.
So, but, and my wife, you know, she goes, oh, you poor thing. And I know under her breath she's chuckling. That's okay.
It's a tough thing.
So,
So we were going to talk about things to do, vacations, and I tell you why this is one of my favorite subjects. It's one of my favorite subjects, not because I just love to go on vacations and travel, which I do, but when I think about my childhood, and I think about and the memories that I have, it's about those special occasions. You really don't remember, you know, like coming home from school every day and what you did every day when you came home
Right.
from school, but you remember that vacation. You remember that. You know, that whole day with your family, that trip to the beach, if that's what it is, or, you know, a trip to the Bronx Zoo or whatever the local zoo is in your area.
well, you
Okay.
make a good point.
That's
Not
the
just the
memories.
big ones.
No.
Like when you went to Disney World for a week. You mean
Right.
even the day trips.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just spending, you know, a whole day with your kids with nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? Just no other commitments. Just doing that. That's the kind of things that they will remember in years to come. Not, you didn't get me an ice cream cone on June 27th. You know, that's not,
No.
that goes away quickly.
They remember things like that. They remember things like, you know what, you never came to one of my soccer games, or you were never at a baseball game.
Right.
And I think you also made a good point. When we go over this stuff, if you're going to take the day and do something with your kids, take the day. You know, too many times you see, they go out with their kids, but they spend the whole day on their phone
On
or
the
on
phones.
the text or doing this, so they're not really
We didn't
there.
I didn't have that when my kids were growing up.
We didn't, and I
we didn't
understand
have
the
that, but
distraction.
today,
But you
it's
need to
crazy.
you need to really try and be vigilant to not. Okay, there probably are circumstances where you have to, but if you feel you're going to be working more than not, then don't do it.
Right.
Because I think the kids pick up on that, and they would rather not do something with you than have just a little bit of your attention. It's nice. It's not that you're at the zoo. It's that you're at the zoo with your dad and your mom.
Right.
It's not just the zoo. It's the whole experience. So
Right.
if you can't give them that, then don't.
Right, and keep your head in, because that's what you're going to remember as well
That's right.
as you get older, right? 'Cause, you know, we're all aging, and you want to remember those days. You're not going to remember, hey, I didn't get the product out the door on time for John Smith Company.
That's right.
Okay, well, maybe. But but that shouldn't be the memories you live with. It should be, I spent the whole day with my children at the Bronx Zoo, and they loved it and they learned something. So so turn that phone off, man. Hit the button. They all come with on and off buttons, don't
They
they?
do.
I know Christine, I know I don't have the latest phone, but you can even turn off an iPhone, right?
Yes,
Okay, all right, so they go off.
they do.
If they shut off, shut them off,
Every one of them.
you know?
So in this book, it goes over and all the different things. I
In-
know you
in
like to
our
find things
particular
that
area,
are
we
cheaper.
have our local newspaper, one of our local newspapers. They
Every year.
create a book, and they call it Explore Long Island.
Right.
They create a book. It used to be called the Fun Book, okay? And in this book, they compile really good information, okay? It's not just about the advertisers.
And it's top to bottom,
This-
expensive
every
to free.
local and public facility has been local municipality and public facility is listed. Phone numbers, addresses, email addresses. If you want to know what time the park opens and closes, if you want to book a golf game, if you want to make reservations, things like that, all in this particular book. If your local paper has one, find out when it is issued. Ours comes out in May. Okay.
And also
And-
this
and
year you
save
can
it.
get an app on your iPhone called Explore Long Island.
Oh, okay.
So you can get a lot of this right on
So
your...
look for it. I'm not sure if you can buy this if you're not
I don't know.
a delivered customer in our area. I think you have to have delivery to get it.
Maybe.
And there's all kinds of little coupons in it, and it's great things.
So one of the first things they
let's
talk
talk about-
about,
let's-
this
what do you
is
wanna talk
something
about?
I particularly like to do.
What?
With my kids, with myself, concerts.
Okay.
You also like to go to concerts.
Yes.
And I rarely go to the huge concerts. You know, when I was younger, I'd go to the arena concerts and see the biggest name bands, but now I prefer to go to small
Springsteen. Go
venues.
see Springsteen.
I have
Disco.
tickets.
I know you're watching.
I have tickets to see this artist who's playing. He's from Austin, Texas, but he's playing in a museum in New York City. It's acoustic only, no amplification, so it's just him and a guitar on stage. So super small venue, and this is a national artist playing there.
Is it someone we know? Is it less than Jake?
No, it's not. His name is
It's not?
His name is Slade Cleaves.
Slade Cleaves.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
so-
performer.
He, it's good stuff, and it's just great music, and it's a small venue. But then again, this book is telling you Jimmy Buffett at the beach.
Right.
Have you ever been to a Jimmy Buffett concert at Jones Beach? I tell you,
Yes.
it is a
No.
party. From top to bottom, it's a party. It's a great time.
Outside, inside, in the parking lot, everything.
It starts
I really
about
have a good time.
10 o'clock in the morning. In the parking lot, it starts, and then it just goes all day long right into the concert. People having fun and playing with the beach balls and barbecues and drinking, and just, it's a
My understanding
fun
is if
time.
you have a Winnebago with a bathroom in it, you could make a mint in that parking lot.
Yes, you could. I think I told you that story.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's where I heard that somewhere.
So,
Okay.
but that Jones Beach is a great place to see. Any of the beach theaters.
It's a very small venue. It's bigger than it originally was years ago, but it's
Right.
a very small venue, and it's a limited engagements. Nobody plays there for 3 weeks in a row. It's just one or two nights.
Usually 1 or 2 nights.
1 or 2 nights.
Ticket prices are, they used to be cheaper. Now I'd say they're mid-range.
It's a state-owned facility, maybe operated by another group, but it's a state-owned facility.
Yep.
So they try to keep it pretty reasonable. We're fortunate that we have a lot of venues in our area.
Correct.
You could spill over into New Jersey within a couple hours, and then in Connecticut in an hour and 20 minutes, and there's many venues.
And you know what
But
else
there's
people
also
should
free
do?
concerts.
Free concerts. That's exactly what I was going
Free
to say.
concerts.
Every town does them. I
two
know the
counties
town of
around here,
Babylon
yeah.
has, they bring that music shell, whatever you want to call it, different places in.
It's like a band shell. It's like a double wide or a
And
single
usually
wide.
the bands that play are, they were popular maybe in the 70s or 80s.
They were
like
big draws.
the B-52s played Copiague Harbor last year.
Right.
And they were a
Right.
pretty big draw in their day.
Right.
Now, you know,
It's not all the band members. They were more like B-51 and a half.
B-51 and,
Yeah.
and 3/4. Huh?
Yeah. Wasn't all the original band
But
members.
stuff like that,
But yeah, we had Eddie Money,
Eddie Money.
you know.
That's
so look for those. I'm sure they listed in your local calendars, your again municipalities, your townships. They issue calendars, and they have all kinds of stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice thing. And we we have gone with the kids a few times
Right?
to see these guys and bands that were real popular when we were their age, and now they're like old people. And you know what? I remember a couple of the experiences going, and there's a lot of retired people that go to these things
Right.
because they're all free, right?
This
So
is
they-
a bring
they
a
come with their
blanket
chairs.
and
Yeah,
chairs. That's
I've seen people come with a cooler and bottles of wine and stuff
Right.
like that.
That's the
so
type
it's a
of
great.
concert.
It's all free, and people come, and they don't know who the artist is. They have no idea who
they
the artist
just
is.
want to go to hear something.
They come to go for free. And then when it's like a rock and roll guy who's like blasting into music, all the old people get up and they leave. And they're like, oh, we don't want to
This
hear
isn't
this.
what we
We
signed
don't
up
wanna hear
for.
this. Yeah. And then, when it's somebody like, doo-wop, Sha-na-na, all the young people get up and they leave. Because they don't want to hear that. So it's kind
But
of a
then
fun
there's some
thing.
groups where you get like a Motown group that everyone will say,
Appeals to
okay, we'll
everyone.
listen to this.
Appeals to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that's always a great idea. And like you said, look in the paper, your local paper. Every week will tell you what's coming up.
Yeah, and all I was just looking through 10 cities: Chicago, L.A., San Francisco, Dallas, Texas, and it was a list of the 10 largest cities and some free things to do. every one of those cities had free concerts. Every one of those cities, and you know, of course, the internet's a great tool.
Well, didn't New York City just last
Christine,
year
this
bring back
internet
the
thing
free
is
concert?
going to work out. I'm convinced now.
You think
Up
the
until a
internet's
couple of
gonna-
months ago, I said that was just a fad, but I'm really starting to find a lot of stuff on the internet now.
Wow,
All
you're
kinds of
actually
stuff.
coming into the
It's
internet age.
amazing. It's amazing.
The World Wide Web.
Yeah, it's amazing. I could speak into this thing now, and it'll find something.
Really? It's called
Yeah.
telephone.
It's amazing.
So didn't they just start having free concerts again in Central Park? Because for a while they didn't, and now I think again big names are coming. Free concert in Central Park in New York City.
A lot of the big names like Paul Simon and stuff like that who do the free
Brad
concerts.
Paisley, I think, did one last
What's
year.
his name?
Brad Paisley. He's a huge country star,
I don't know.
and he
How
filled
about your
Central
other guy?
Park.
What was his name? Slade what? What was it?
Slade Cleaves.
Slade Cleaves.
He did not
That's a
fill
good name
Central
for a
Park.
performer. If he was a podiatrist, I don't think I would go.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
not.
yeah. But,
Or
a
it could be a
performer,
good
I
name
think
for a
I'd go see him.
cook.
Mm.
Cleaver. Anyway.
Yeah.
How about going to the theater? Local theater. You know, we always think, I mean, we're spoiled. We have Broadway. And I, for one, just love Broadway shows. I think they're incredible. But they're expensive, really expensive.
It's got to be
you're
$100,
talking
$120
a
a person.
person.
A person.
But
And
you
that-
go
and
to
that
these
doesn't-
local.
That doesn't cover the cost for you to get in.
No,
right?
that's just the
And if
ticket.
you stay overnight, it's a couple $100 for a hotel room.
Yeah.
So it's a $500, $600 weekend.
In my opinion, it's worth it, but you're only going to do that once or twice a year.
Right. Right.
The local theaters, and I'm looking at some of these
$30,
saying, you know what, I didn't
$40.
even think about that. Not just, there are some small playhouses in different communities, but the local universities.
Right.
This says Adelphi and Hofstra and some of these local universities, they put on shows throughout the summer. Some of them are the students, some of them they do youth groups who come during the week, they learn a play, and after a month they put on a show. Tickets are $5.
Wow.
That's it's a great way to.
Now, recently I went to a local theater with our friends Phil, Carol, and we went, and it was a wonderful, wonderful show. Wonderful show. It was Money Makes the World Go Around. What is that with the Cabaret? Cabaret. Excellent show, and it was, was it? First of all, I'm not a theater critic, so I can't even tell you
Was it in Manhattan?
No, it was here. It was
Oh,
on Long Island. And I said, was it, is it Broadway caliber? For me, I enjoyed it. The acting was great. The music
And
was
that's-
great.
that's
the
what's
seats were
important.
phenomenal, right? Because it's a very small theater. It's a small theater here on Long Island, and it was just great. And it was, I think Carol might have won the tickets or something somewhere, on a radio show. Speaking of free tickets.
Well, before you get the free tickets, speaking of
That's another way you can
shows,
get to see shows.
I
Is radios and free tickets and
I
writing
congratulated my son, but Megan, she was in Greece at the high school, and she's only in 8th grade, so she was in the high school play. And we have something called
She was in Greece? She was in high school play Greece?
Mhm.
You and Chuck were doing the music?
We did the music, and Megan played.
What was the character?
Patty Simcox, the nerdy cheerleader girl.
Oh, yeah?
So she was that, and here we have a thing called BACA, which is the Babylon Association for the Arts Council.
Okay.
And every year they do this award show, kind of like the Oscar or the Emmys, the Tonys, I guess it would be. So she was nominated for Best Actress in a supporting role. Supporting,
That's terrific.
featured, in a featured role. Supporting would be like supporting actress. Featured is like a specialty character. So she's in the 8th grade. A lot of people got nominated. So she wasn't able to make the
Ceremony?
because she was in her middle school play. She won.
She won.
Megan won the award for Best Actress in a featured role for her portrayal of Patty Simcox in Greece.
How nice
Congratulations! Congratulations to another
Congratulations.
guy David Szabo, who won
Oh,
for
yeah, okay.
he won 2 awards for his portrayal in The Heights at Copic. So, congrats to all these people.
Very
And speaking
nice.
of live music, now I'll
Live
do the
music
read. Got to do a
and winning
read.
free tickets and someplace you can go with your family, friends, and significant other.
Well, the Emporium, Patchogue. This is another one where it's a smaller venue. great theater, kind of like the Paramount up in Huntington. Emporium in Patchogue. On Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m., we've got tickets to see Less Than Jake. Now, I know you're going, less than who? But there's,
I've heard of Less Than Jake. I don't know anything about his music.
Just went, Less Than Jake, that's going to be a
Or
good
her- or
concert.
her,
And it is a good concert.
Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a group.
It's a group.
It's
It's
a
not even one
group.
person.
It's
Okay, but
not a-
I've heard of him for some reason.
So In Rayview has tickets. If you click on the Win Now link on the homepage or contest to enter to win, you can get your tickets possibly to see Less Than Jake on June 11th. 6
Christine and
p.m.
Tom, did they pick the tickets up here or
No.
we don't know the rules?
They
What?
can pick them up at the box office, I believe.
Will call?
Yeah, at the box office.
Okay, some guy named Will Call will have the tickets.
So
for you.
Will Call.
William Call.
William Cawley.
William
Okay.
Call. He'll have the tickets for you.
You know him, don't you?
I think he was a security guard at J.C. Penney's in Chicago.
That's
If I
like the
remember
guy
that correctly.
who goes around making sure the microphones
Mhm.
work. His name is Mike Checks.
Mike checks.
Mike Checks, yeah. He checks all the
Yeah.
mics.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
So,
What's
I know
beyond the-
another
Go
great
ahead.
thing to do.
What's that?
Okay, local amusement parks and some of the bigger amusement parks in the area. There's a lot of amusement parks like Disney and those things. They're they're a little high end. It takes a little more money to go to, and there's some more regional parks like Busch Gardens and Great Adventure. But there are some very, very local parks, like we have Adventureland here, and on 110 in Melville, and it's a great park. You could spend a whole day there. Entry to get into the park is pretty inexpensive.
Yep.
It's perfect for those the tweens. It's the perfect size. It's great for little kids. It's not expensive, and they have the typical pizza, fried food, hot dogs, French fries, things like that,
From
churros.
April until September.
It opens
Nope.
probably just a couple of weeks ago,
From
and
April
then
to
it'll
December.
close probably Halloween.
But my point is, from April to December, there is
April
nothing
to
else.
September?
Yeah.
April to
There is
September.
nothing else that Megan begs us more about than going to Adventureland.
Are you kidding?
That's the number one thing she bugs about. Oh, can I go to Adventureland? Can I go to... Constantly. She would go there twice a week if we let her. She loves Adventureland. And it's small. It's
Well,
nothing
when
huge.
she's 14, she could work there.
Yeah. Oh, she can work there at
You
14?
can work there at 14. They
Ooh,
give you a
another
few
year,
hours
Maggie.
a week, and if they give you a little uniform, they have a rule book that's as big as this book
I bet they do.
for the kids, dressing and how they work. They have it so well organized. It's really a nice place.
Loves it.
And
Now,
hundreds of kids, a summer work there, and
It's a
and
great
over
place
the
to
years,
work.
thousands of kids had worked
great
there.
place. It's a lot of kids, very social, I imagine. I do want to say one thing, though. And I agree the small amusement parks are great. The one thing I'm not a fan of is these rides at the local church fairs and the very small
Street
fairs,
fairs.
the street fairs, where these rides come in on a truck and they set them up in 10 minutes. And
It's a safety concern for you.
very much
Sa-
so.
safety
I think the safety, and they're supposed to be checked, and I'm hoping that everything is checked the way it's supposed to be, but I'm very leery of those, especially the ones that do loops. And, it used to be just the small things that go around slowly in the merry-go-round and nothing big, but now you
Right.
go
Like
some of these...
the cups and saucers probably aren't
Yeah.
too bad, but like a tilt-a-whirl is bad.
Now you go to some of these fairs and they have almost roller coasters, these fast-moving, spinning rides that they scare me. They scare me for safety
Anytime
reasons.
you
only.
have to sign a waiver to go on a ride, I
Yeah.
would say probably don't do it.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Although when we went whitewater rafting, we had to sign a waiver. But that's just an inherent type of...
They're
This
sure
is a good
it's
idea.
basic.
I love this idea.
So
With kids.
go to your local amusement parks.
Yes. And you know what?
It's
You
small
realize what you
investment,
just did to me.
It's local, and it builds a memory, and it doesn't take a lot of time away from your own business. That's something you can do in the evening.
This is an instance where I'm hoping Megan's not watching, because she's gonna, you said it. You said I should go. Tony said you should go. I'm gonna have her call you so you can take her one evening.
Not a problem, Megan.
Yeah, you can take.
I will not go on the rides.
You got to go on the ride. She wants
I'm
to
not-
hear you
I-
scream like a girl on the roller coaster.
I will scream like a girl on a roller coaster because I'm not a huge ride. Do you like rides?
I love them.
Do you?
Oh, the faster
Disco
and
loves rides.
the
My
faster
brother loves
and
rides.
more. Yes.
Him and Kevin,
Love 'em.
they will travel to go on roller coasters. They
Yes,
just love that.
I've done that. Like down in Florida, I'll go to certain amusement parks because of the roller coasters. Yeah.
I still say you should go. I'll try out all.
Let
the
me
food-
guess. You
I'll
put
try
the
out all the food
seatbelt
stuff.
on
Of
the
course you put
merry-go-round.
of course you put the
On the
seatbelt.
merry-go-round, on the horses.
Ferris wheel, I put the seatbelt.
No, but on the little horses on the merry-go-round, you put on the seatbelt. If you
Yeah.
sit in the bench that doesn't
Yeah.
move,
You're supposed to put it on, otherwise they won't turn the machine on.
I somehow knew that.
That's it.
Here's another good idea. Now we're doing fun stuff.
I don't
You
like
know
to
what
sit
else
on
kids
the
think of
horses
fun?
because I feel like I'm punishing them.
Yeah, I know. Museums. There's lots of little museums.
I'm a museum guy.
And
Last week I went to the La Brea Tar Pits.
You
I
did.
squeezed that into my LA trip.
you did.
And the guy was like, well, what are you going to go there for? There's nothing to see. I'm like, it's the tar pits. And I'm not going to get here, all that often. So I went to the museum.
I was looking at this book, and I can't believe how many museums. I never realized half of these museums are right here. The American Guitar Museum.
Right here? They have the American Guitar
It's
Museum
in
here?
New Hyde Park. New Hyde
That's-
Park, right
Wow.
here on Long Island. All the Cradle of Aviation, as we know,
That's a good
that's a
museum.
great museum. But all these
You know
different
what's nice
museums,
about the Cradle
Firefighter
of
Museum,
Aviation?
Police Museum.
Is they have some of the original lunar landing stuff that was built by Grumman's.
Right.
And what's unique about this museum, and maybe other places in the country, but I don't know of, is that they actually have the retired guys who built it
Working, giving
there
tours, yeah.
on the site.
Mhm.
Okay, and they could tell you how they made it and where the materials came from, and it's so real and authentic. It's just I had a great time. I had a friend of mine in from the UK who's a big aviation enthusiast, and we had run out there. I said, come on, we'll take a long lunch. Of course, we spent the whole day there, and he just loved it.
Great. Everyone thinks kids aren't going to like museums. They're going to be bored. And you know what? Some museums, they could be, but there's so many museums out there that kids really get into it.
Well,
I
we
mean,
have, and there's more interactive museums.
Yes,
now.
and they don't see a museum the same way as an adult. As an adult, you go, you might want to read each little plaque to know exact. They kind of want to stroll through it a little more and might come back once or twice to see the different things, and they want you to tell them what it is. They don't want to read about it so much.
Right.
But there's a lot of great museums that they can really, one of the best is the the Natural History Museum in Manhattan.
American Museum of Natural History.
Incredible museum.
It is probably, it's in the top 10 museums in the world.
In the world, yeah.
And it's right here, yeah.
If you've ever seen that movie, Night at the Museum, it was filmed there. The first one was. Just kids. That's a museum they would never get bored in. You could literally spend 2, if not 3 full days there.
Yeah.
to
If you
see it.
visit Manhattan, if you guys, if somebody's coming to visit Manhattan, that they have their own subway stops, so you can even if it's a rainy day,
If you
it's
right,
a great thing to do because you don't even have to go outside.
it's a must see.
Yeah, or
I
you're
would say
here in
that's
the
one of
winter.
them.
You don't have to worry about the snow and the weather conditions because you can go from the subway right into the bottom of the museum. So that's a really good thing. Plenty of museums.
And the thing with those museums in the city is they don't have a set price. It may seem like
A
they do.
lot of them don't. Yes.
It's a suggested donation.
Yes.
And if you can afford the suggested donation, which isn't crazy, you give it. But if you say, you know what, I can't, here's $5, they have to let you in.
Right. Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Right. So that's how these museums work. So if
Just
you want,
one
if you
warning,
have a
is
family of
every
7,
museum you exit through the gift shop.
yes, and the lunch count is you're going to pay $12 for chicken
Yeah.
fingers.
Yeah.
Um,
But Museum of Natural History, the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art,
Modern art. Guggenheim,
yeah,
all.
the Guggenheim, they're all pay what you like to pay what you can afford to pay. You know.
Well, suggested donations.
Suggested
They don't
donations.
have an admission fee,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And there's some great things there. I mean, you talk about in Europe you're going to go to the Louvre, you're going to see the Mona Lisa, things like that. Well, listen, there's plenty of Van Goghs in Manhattan. and there's water lilies. I mean, it's just amazing.
Have you been to see the Mona Lisa, to the Louvre? Have you been to the Louvre
No,
to see
I
the Mona
have
Lisa?
not been to the Louvre.
I have.
Oh, did you? Oh, because you were in
I
Portugal. You live in
was
Portugal.
so unimpressed.
It's teeny.
It's very small. It's dark. You can't get that close to it, so you're about 10 feet away because they don't want anyone getting near it. There was so many other things in that museum that impressed me way more than the Mona Lisa. I wasn't impressed at all. If I didn't know it was a famous painting,
Right.
I wouldn't have looked at it twice.
Right.
That's just weird.
Now the water lilies is a famous painting.
Yes,
Okay. Have you seen that?
I have.
Okay. So I go to the modern, the
Museum
MoMA,
of Art.
okay, and I'm looking at, and I don't know if you, they've since changed everything around, but it was all on the first floor. So I'm looking at the Picassos, and I'm looking at Starry Night, and the Scream, and I'm going around, and as I come around,
By Edvard Grieg, a Norwegian, by the way.
what's that?
The Scream.
Oh, okay.
A Norwegian.
He's a Norwegian? Okay.
Edvard
And,
Grieg.
and as I come around,
Yeah.
I come to the edge of
It's
a
a
canvas
dinosaur.
that's maybe 8 foot high, the edge of the canvas. And I stand and I'm looking. Now I'm only about this far away because you can go up to everything. You can get this far
Yes.
from a Van Gogh.
Yes.
Okay, and there's no glass.
Correct.
Okay. So anyway, so I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, it's all like splotches of pink and green and blue. And then I move in a little bit further and now it's huge. I look down, it's got to be 35 feet long, 8 feet high. And I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, it's huge. What the hell is it?
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed that all the time I was looking at the other paintings, there were people with me looking at the other paintings. And now I realized I'm alone. And I turn around, and 20 feet behind me, everyone is behind like this rope, okay, or this line. And they're all looking at what I'm looking at, but I'm like 1 inch from it.
You're a
So
little too close.
I walk over to it, and you could see what the painting is, and it was the water lilies. But this close to it, you had no idea what it was, and it looked like a whole bunch of blotches, okay? And there's a lesson there. Sometimes you have to step back and look at the water lilies.
There you go.
Okay, so that was my lesson
That's
for today.
kind of like stop and smell the roses.
Stop and smell the
Man,
roses.
that was a long story for
That was a long story to get to that ending.
This 13 pages.
I'm glad you liked it, Christine.
13 pages of museums.
You can't swing a dead cat without hitting the museum.
That's
and I
true.
think there's
See,
a
now,
museum
actually,
on dead cats.
you reminded me of a favorite story of my
There is no museum on dead cats?
museum of
Cartoons and comic arts?
Yeah,
And it's
That's
called the MoCA.
the MoCA. As a kid, we went to the Museum of Modern Art, and my dad, he was not an art kind of guy. He was a combat vet Marine. So we're there, and I remember we turned the corner, and kind of like you said, this was a canvas, had to be 40 feet by 30 feet. And all it looked like, I don't know if it was Jackson Pollock, but it was one of those where they
Right.
just took a can of paint, red paint, threw red paint on a white canvas, and that was it. And all my father says, "You gotta be kidding me. I could do this. The hell kind of museum is this?"
It's like the Michael Ruzioni with the hockey sticks.
And today, I mean, that is still one of my, a great memory of
And you know what? He
mine.
was right.
Yeah, you
But
know,
he's just not going to get paid for it.
I appreciate art, but there are some things, and not all art is for everyone. Some people don't like realism, like the drawing of the picture with the pears and the birds, some of the Italian Renaissance type stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that type of modern art,
the
like
Picassos.
the Jackson Pollock. No, Picasso is okay. It's the
He's
one
got
where
everything all mixed up. Everything
right.
all-
I like Van Gogh better, and I like some of that Impressionism better. But where they just have the blotches of paint, I don't get that. That doesn't talk to me at all. But to some people, it does, and they're willing to spend a lot of money on
Now,
it.
the second floor, just to warn you if you go to with young children, the second floor,
Yeah,
and it's modern art, okay?
all
And
modern
art
art.
can be risque.
it can.
It can be risque. And, for some people, they may feel that it's inappropriate for their young children. So you have to do that. One time we were there, and the kids were young, and the modern art exhibit on the second floor of the MoMA
Was all
was
nudes?
something on like the history of the Brazil.
Oh.
Okay, so you can imagine what they had up there. Okay,
When he gets braziers?
and the brazier, yeah. Okay, so you can imagine what they had up there, and we were like, okay, so you guys don't want to see this part. It's nothing. So we kind of skipped the history of the brazier, you know.
You
that
didn't
many
go to
years
the
ago.
history of the
No, we kind of skipped it.
Braziers.
We kind of skipped it, and you know, I'm sure it was interesting.
And that's not just modern art. I mean, all the Renaissance art, all the women in
Well,
nude.
Picasso,
mostly,
you're
yeah.
safe. I mean, they had the nude by Picasso.
Right.
Okay, Picasso, but you couldn't figure out where all the parts belonged.
Have you ever seen the statue of David?
Yeah.
You walk into Florence, it's like, holy cow.
Yeah.
There's no fig leaf there.
No.
There's no fig leaf
No.
at all, and it's,
He-
you know,
but he's a big
leaves
dude. He's
nothing
like
to the imagination.
He's 1.25 to scale.
Yes.
So everything is 25% bigger on the guy.
Right.
Okay. So,
So,
Thomas, it's
does that
true.
make you feel better?
Makes
Does that
me
make you
feel better.
Okay. But so, you know, there's art. Art is always, you know, the form.
Right.
There's a whole lot in this book, different restaurants. I mean, every different kind of food, and I think that's fun too. Is trying different things. You know, some things you've never had before. I know I'm pretty adventurous with food. I love to try things I've never had before, especially if someone says, "Oh, do you like
I can tell you what not to try.
this kind of food?" And
I would skip Yados if I was you.
oh, don't, guys! If you've never had Yados, you need to try Yados cheese. It is the best. It's better than Limburger, but all different kinds. Like, do you like to try different types of food, Korean and Thai, and any different type of?
I travel a bit, so I've tried all different kinds of foods, and yeah, you know, but if I'm really hungry, I want something. I want a comfort food that I know I
Comfort
like.
food.
But
Like
I
yesterday, it
try
was
everything.
yesterday. It was the birthday of one of my coworkers. You know, the secretary in the office. It was her birthday, and she's Puerto Rican and Dominican. So for lunch, we ordered from a Colombian restaurant, and I
I'm
wasn't
not sure that makes sense now.
Well,
She's
it's
Puerto
all-
Rican, Dominican. You ordered from a Colombian.
It's
place.
all the Hispanic type food, because that's what she wanted. So everyone else was picking, well, I'll take, I think that looks like chicken and that looks like rice. And when it got to me, I said to Flora, I said, whatever you're getting, get me the same thing.
There you
And
go.
that's what I did. And it was awesome. But you know, someone who, if this is their food, trust them. Like if you go
just
to a
gotta dive
restaurant
in.
with someone who is Italian and you've never had Italian before, say,
Right.
well, what would you think I should like? What should I try? Because you're gonna give them a different
Right.
idea.
Right.
Instead of playing it safe sometimes,
Right.
you know. My
Like a
dad,
recommendation from the locals.
yeah, that's it.
Your dad adventurous, not adventurous?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. When it came to food, my dad, he would eat the same, like
He's
Monday.
like an all-American guy, your
Oh
dad.
yeah, Monday it would be meatloaf every day, and Tuesday would be pork chops, and Wednesday would be this or that. His thing when he went to Italian restaurants, and he used to go to the same Italian restaurants, so they knew when Norm was coming in.
Uh-huh.
His favorite meal, and that's all he ever got in an Italian restaurant, was veal cutlet parmesan with French fries.
There you go.
Would not get pasta and French fries, and they knew he was coming. Get the French fries ready.
And that's what
If
he
they
was
didn't
getting.
serve French fries, he wouldn't go back.
Wouldn't go back.
That was his thing. So they have different getaways. That's another thing. There's a lot of these little like bed and breakfasts, or just what they
You
call
have to like that sort of thing too.
a staycation.
Not everybody. Yeah, not everybody likes bed and breakfast, and
No.
so it's kind of like sleeping at someone's home.
It is.
in a way, and you know, less personal than sleeping in someone's home, but it's not.
It's not a hotel.
Right. It's not the. Is it autonomy that I'm thinking of in a hotel where you're kind of out on your own and you know everyone's like a guest. You kind of feel like you're.
You
in
feel
someone's
like
home.
you're staying as a guest in someone's home,
Yeah.
much more
Yeah.
than you're just paying for.
Which
a
isn't
room in a
bad.
hotel.
I've been to bed and breakfast. I like them.
I had some of the greatest experience with there
Yeah.
because I remember one time my wife and I were just married, went to one in Milford, Pennsylvania. It was called the Sweet Woodruff. I still remember the name. It was run by this couple and their kids, and they were a religious family, so we came down for breakfast, and everyone there, and I guess it was 12, 14 people, You grabbed hands, you said a prayer before breakfast, and then you ate. And then they would, if you could
Every
do
meal,
whatever
did
you
you say
wanted.
grace before every meal?
Yes, they did.
They did.
And
Did you do that at home?
no, growing up, we did that on Sundays
Okay.
only. Not every meal, but on Sundays, yes. Did you, as an Italian
No,
family?
we did not.
You did not.
We did
Okay.
not. My wife's family did.
They did. Okay.
Yeah. And did I ever tell you the story about me having to say grace?
No, but I have a feeling you're gonna tell me.
I am going to tell you. It was a number of years ago. I was traveling with a handful of people, and we were visiting a company. And then that evening, we all went to dinner, and there were probably about 60 people at dinner.
Whoa.
There were 20 some odd people on each side, and 2 people on the ends.
You're in this country?
I was
In the United
I was
States?
in Indiana.
Okay.
I was in French Lick, Indiana.
Heartland of the United
Heartland of the
States.
U.S., man. So actually, I'm sorry, I was in Jasper, Indiana, and I was
Not
at a
Gary,
place called
Indiana.
the Schnitzelbank.
Ooh, the schnitzel.
The Schnitzelbank. Okay, nice German restaurant. And there at the end of the table was the executive vice president of the company that we were dealing with. And at the other end of the table, somehow I ended up at the other end of the head of the table.
Oh,
and there
see.
I was, 20 some odd people away.
Staring them down.
And Pat Doan looked down and he said, Tony,
Who-
would you
who's
lead
this?
us in grace? Pat Doan.
Oh, as he said Dolan, I'm like,
No, Pat Doan.
Pat Doan.
Pat Doan says, Tony, would you lead us in grace?
And you went, oh,
And I was
my
like,
Lord.
oh my God. I was like, of course. And everyone held hands. And just like that, the grace that we would say every Sunday at my mother-in-law's
Came out.
house when we ate just popped right up. And I said grace, and the girl next to me was one of the person I deal with on an everyday basis. You know, she squeezed my hand and she goes, you were sweating, but you did a good job. I was like, thank you. And she knew that maybe I didn't know it. You know, she was almost ready to walk me through it. And that was it. So I'm going to thank my mother-in-law and my wife's family for teaching me grace. And when I needed it in my moment of truth, I had it.
You know what, though? If you say grace, no matter what you say, as long as it's heartfelt, it's okay. I don't think you're not going to, like, get a failing grade. Wrong. Start over.
Well, it wasn't, over the
Over
teeth,
the teeth,
and
through
past
the
the
gums,
gums,
watch
and look
out,
out, stomach,
stomach.
here it comes. Let's eat. No, it was nicer than that.
You mentioned German food before, and I saw in here
Yeah.
one of the restaurants is, and it's been around forever, the Plattdeutsch in New Hyde Park.
We went to a nice restaurant.
We went to a German
You
restaurant in
took us to the
Copac,
Lantern,
the Village Lantern.
Village Lantern. That was excellent.
But
We had the little Oompa
you
band
think
there
that's
from
good?
Germany. We drank
We got to go
Spaten.
to the
We went
Plattdeutsch.
zugga, 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 zugga,
Zucker's
zugga,
Oompa.
Oompa.
Yeah,
And we drank. We had a good time.
that was fun. You think that's fun? We got to go to the Plattdeutsch in Franklin, Switzerland. It's been there forever. It's a traditional German beer garden
Nice.
with long tables outside, and they got the pretzels and the schnitzels and the, I think
They got the girls in the lederhosen.
the guys wear the lederhosen.
What do the girls wear?
They wear the stops them from flopping.
Stuten, stops them from flopping. Steins.
Again, but you know what? That's a good idea with kids. Ethnic places.
That's a fun
A
time.
lot of fun. Ethnic. And I don't mean
They-
just German. That you go places where they dress up in character and they have the music, and that's always a fun time.
We
I
used,
remember
we used to go to a place. Go ahead.
as a kid, we used to do that a lot, and I still remember
There was
those
a place
places.
where in the same town, we grew up in the same town. There was a place called the Bourbon Barrel.
The Bourbon Barrel,
And
yeah.
they used to sing, roll out the
The
barrel.
barrel.
They used to give you song sheets, peanuts, popcorn, and they had a band, and they would sing all these songs. And they used to pull down a sign. They would say, "Roll it, we're gonna have
Roll
a
out the
barrel,
barrel.
bull ship," and they had a bull and a sailing ship, bull ship, and and then we drink our beer, and then we'd sing another song, and it was fun.
And they're great for families because they're
that's-
loud. Kids can be kids. They don't have to like
You get some fried chicken, and you get peanuts, and you could drink a little
Whatever they want, right.
Spaten, and you could have a good time. And that's the kind of stuff that makes memories. It's about building memories. It's about bonding. It's about
Right.
being with your family. It's about enjoying each other's company.
Absolutely. And like we
Okay?
said at the very
so it
beginning,
could be a museum, an amusement park,
Right.
A restaurant, a theater, a walk in the park, a walk through the city. I was just mentioning that in New York City, which I know it's not the first city to have it, but we do have it. It's a closed down elevator train
that they
that they
Can walk on?
turned the elevation where the train was into a walking park. and that goes 20 or 30 blocks in Manhattan.
Right.
And you could just take your time, and there's all kinds of displays from up top, from original artists displaying things, to musicians sitting on park benches playing, to schools displaying artworks from children, to mimes and people in costumes walking around. And you just take your time and you walk through, and when you feel like you want to step down back into the street, you can step down into the street and
At any
have something to eat, and then go back up, or have something to drink and go back up. And it was just a freebie. It's free.
Yeah.
It's free, and
But
you're enjoying each other's company.
this is always a great idea. Did you ever do that as a kid? Did your parents take you to a dog show?
No.
Great idea. They have like all these smaller, say, breed-specific show, like Basset Hounds or German Shepherds. They have them like in the local parks. This one's at Old Bethpage. This one is in Caniac Park in Huntington. You go there, it's usually in the morning, and all the dogs are there. They're being groomed. Most of the handlers will let you pet them, and
Right.
kids love that. I remember as a kid we would go to a lot of them. That's a great time for kids. If they like
That's
dogs,
it.
it's a
All you
good
need
thing.
is a puppy or a dog, and you get a crowd of kids already. 'Cause
They
they're
have
kids and-
somewhere you don't have to be a purebred. You can just bring your dog and put it in
Bring
the
the
dog
dog.
show.
They had something going on at when I was at the La Brea Tar Pits. They had a whole bunch of dogs there, and people were just with their dogs. It's just an open park. And the odd thing about it is, away from there's 4 or 5 tar pit sites, but away from those sites, there were just plumes like on your front lawn.
Of tar.
There's a plume of tar that just bubbled up. So I thought it was odd. I'm like, you're in the middle of this big city, and there's a small little park with bubbling tar, and just plume. I said to the girl next to me as we were walking out, I said,
Did you see that tar?
I was going to say, the next mammal stand up in the tar pit, with all these dogs running around. I said, they got to be careful here,
That's it.
So,
But I think just to sum up the show, you hit it on the head 2 seconds ago. It doesn't matter what you do. Do something, but do it together.
doesn't matter what it costs. It doesn't have to cost anything at all.
Some of the best times we've had, it didn't cost a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, think about it. To a kid, you could go out and spend $500 on the greatest toy in the world, and they'll have just as much fun with the box from the refrigerator.
Right.
It becomes a tank, it becomes this, it becomes a fort, it becomes a dollhouse. Kids, they just need to be engaged. They need your time. You can buy them everything, but you can't buy your time back. Give them your time, give them your attention. That's the one thing every kid wants from their parent. That's the one thing every single kid wants, is time with their parent. And I know you don't believe this, teenagers, adolescents, that tweens in there, they may be telling you, oh, my parents. But you know what? You get them somewhere that they enjoy, and you're there with them, whether they have a friend with them or not, they're going to enjoy it, and they're going to take something away with it. Even if they have that teenager attitude, they still want to do it.
Even
if they won't admit it. Even the older ones.
My kids wanted my wife to go out to their favorite bar that they go to, and they see bands. And they're older, they're beyond drinking age or whatever. And they took me and my wife and my brother and my sister-in-law and my brother and sister-in-law, and they took us to the bar with them. And they wanted us to hang out in their bar with them. Now, I'm not sure at the end of the night they really still wanted us there, but we were there.
And that's a testament to your parenting skills, that they still want you
wanted us out
around.
with them, and it was a fun night too.
That's great.
Strange being in a bar, with
But
the
you
kids,
know
but-
what?
but we
They
had a
knew
great
you
time.
wouldn't judge. They knew you would allow them
No.
to be themselves.
It
and
was great to see them singing all the words to these songs that I didn't even know they knew from the '80s, and then they weren't even in the '80s, but they knew all these songs. It was a great time.
And what is the message from that? That they still want you to be a part of their lives.
Right.
This is their life now, but now you used to take them to your life. Now they want to take you
Right.
into their
You're
life too, and
important
that's
to
a
them,
big deal.
You're important to them at any age.
And that's huge. That's what you strive for. I mean, that's for your kids and you to still want to be together all this time. Yeah, and I'm not saying they don't have friends, that you don't want to
Sure
live
they
in
do.
each other's pocket constantly.
Right.
But family is family.
Family's family.
So,
Can I say one more thing before we go, or were you just going to say one more
Please,
thing before
I
we go?
will let you
That in
take
the
out
next,
the show.
In the next couple of weeks, it's prom week. This is prom week for a lot of schools. And for the young viewers, just be careful and, you know,
Please.
just make good decisions for yourself. Just be the best person you could be in those situations. Don't give in to peer pressure when you know something is wrong, okay? And don't do something that is harmful to you or somebody else.
Right.
And whether that's driving at, you know, high speeds or recklessly or drugs or alcohol or all those things.
One poor
okay?
decision could change
One poor
your
decision
whole
change your life,
life.
the lives of your friends, the lives of your families, and the lives of your friends' families. Okay, so just make good decisions. There's no other advice I can give you other than, you know, I'm sure you know right from wrong at this age. Okay, and make the right decisions as often as you can.
Couldn't
that's
say
it.
anything better. So with that, Tony,
Hey,
see you next week. Everyone,
Everybody.
thank you for tuning in.
And happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial
Happy
Day.
Memorial Day.
It's an important day. Go to a parade, put your flag out, talk to a veteran. Remember all those
Thank a
people
vet.
that sacrificed for us. So, Christine and Tom, thank you, and I guess you can take us out. Goodbye.
Bye.